The glass doors of the Harper Automotive Group's Beverly Hills showroom gleamed under the California sun, reflecting wealth, power, and exclusivity in every polished inch. Inside, luxury cars sat like trophies on a marble floor, their curves catching the light as soft jazz hummed in the background. This was no ordinary dealership. It was a temple of aspiration, designed for the elite. But on this crisp morning in July 2025, a storm was brewing, one that would shake the foundations of this glittering empire. Olivia Harper, the CEO of Harper Automotive Group, was about to walk into her own showroom, not as a titan of industry, but as a nobody. And what she would uncover would expose a rot far deeper than she ever imagined. Drop a comment below. Where are you tuning in from, and what time is it? We'd love to hear from you as we dive into this tale of power, justice, and transformation. 42. Olivia Harper was a force in the automotive world. Her name was synonymous with sharp business acumen, her face a fixture in industry magazines. She built Harper Automotive Group into a chain of high-end showrooms catering to the ultra-wealthy, with the Beverly Hills location as its crown jewel. On paper, she had it all: financial success, a corner office overlooking Los Angeles, and a reputation for outmaneuvering competitors. But beneath the polished surface, something gnawed at her. For weeks, a customer complaint had lingered in her mind, forwarded by her trusted assistant, Liam Carter. A potential buyer, dressed casually, had walked into the Beverly Hills showroom, seeking financing options for a sleek $150,000 sedan. Instead of guidance, they'd been dismissed with a curt, "Those deals aren't for everyone." The words stung Olivia, not just because they were rude, but because they hinted at something uglier. A system designed to exclude. Olivia could have called a meeting, demanded reports, or sent an investigator. But that wasn't her style. Reports could be fudged, numbers manipulated. If she wanted the truth, she'd have to see it for herself. So, on a Tuesday morning, she made a decision that would set everything in motion. She traded her tailored blazer for a navy blouse, her designer heels for worn sneakers, and her sleek updo for a loose ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry, nothing. To signal her status, she would walk into her own showroom as an ordinary customer, a nobody in the eyes of her own staff. The Beverly Hills showroom was a masterpiece of modern design. Floor-to-ceiling glass walls, leather-scented air, and cars, displayed like sculptures under soft LED lights. As Olivia pushed open the heavy glass door, the atmosphere hit her like a wave. The faint clink of espresso cups mingled with the low murmur of sales pitches. The place was immaculate, every detail curated to scream exclusivity. She paused, taking it in. To her left, a middle-aged man in a tailored suit, his Rolex glinting, was being offered a cappuccino, while a sales associate gushed over a $300,000 convertible. Nearby, a woman in a Chanel dress had two employees orbiting her, nodding at her every word. But in the corner, a man in his late 30s, David Lynn, she'd later learn stood alone, clutching a brochure. Dressed in a plain button-up and khakis, he checked his phone, shifted his weight, and waited for attention that never came. The hierarchy was clear. Wealth got you service. Anything less got you ignored. Olivia approached the reception desk, her sneakers squeaking faintly on the marble floor. The receptionist, a young woman with a tight bun and a headset, didn't look up. 1 minute passed, then 2. Olivia cleared her throat. "Excuse me," she said, her voice polite but firm. "I'd like to ask about financing options for the sedan over there." The receptionist's eyes flicked up, scanning Olivia's. Outfit: jeans, simple blouse, no visible signs of affluence. Her lips pursed slightly, and she returned to her screen. "Someone will be with you shortly," she said, her tone clipped, already dismissing her. Before Olivia could press further, the glass doors swung open again, A tall man in a navy suit strode in, his polished loafers clicking with authority. A gold watch peeked from his cuff, and the receptionist's demeanor shifted instantly. She straightened, her smile bright as a spotlight. "Mr. Caldwell, always a pleasure," she chirped. "Would you like an espresso while we prepare your paperwork?" Olivia recognized the name. James Caldwell, a real estate mogul known for his multi-million-dollar deals and flashy car collection. The contrast was stark. Olivia, invisible. Caldwell, royalty. Then came Nathan Hayes, the showroom manager. His graying hair was slicked back, his suit impeccable, his presence commanding. Staff subtly adjusted their postures as he approached. A king surveying his court. He barely glanced at Olivia, his eyes locking onto Caldwell. "James, good to see you," he said, his voice smooth as silk, offering a firm handshake. "Your special order just arrived. Let's step into my office." Olivia watched, her jaw tightening. She stepped forward. "Excuse me," she said, her tone even. "I had a question about financing options." Nathan turned, his gaze sweeping over her blouse, jeans, sneakers. His lips curved into a smile, but it was cold, patronizing. "Financing?" His voice carried an edge of condescension. "We don't typically offer those programs to just anyone. There are risks, you understand." Olivia kept her expression neutral. "I'd still like to know what options are available," she pressed. Nathan exhaled, shaking his head. "Look, ma'am, I'll be honest. We've had too many incidents, people walking in with fake documents, trying to scam their way into a luxury car. It's not worth the hassle." The words hung in the air, sharp and deliberate. Olivia let them settle, her mind racing. This wasn't just rudeness. It was a system, a culture. She glanced at David Lynn, still waiting, still ignored. Then at Mia Alvarez, a young sales associate standing nearby, her eyes darting uncomfortably. Between Nathan and Olivia, Mia knew what was happening, but like the others, she stayed silent. Nathan gestured toward a security guard. "Frank, please escort this lady out." The move was theatrical, designed to humiliate, a warning to anyone who didn't fit the showroom's unspoken criteria. Olivia didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled, a small, deliberate curve of her lips, not of amusement, but of resolve. "Understood," she said, her voice steady. She pulled out her phone and typed a quick message to Liam. "Start digging into the Beverly Hills showroom. Customer records, employee files, everything. Now." Without another word, she turned and walked toward the door, her sneakers silent against the marble. Outside, the morning sun felt sharper, the air heavier. As she stepped onto the sidewalk, she heard sirens. Red and blue lights flashed against the showroom's glass facade as a police cruiser pulled up. Nathan had actually called the cops. Olivia stood still, hands loose at her sides, as two officers approached. The taller one, Officer Daniels, had a no-nonsense demeanor. "Ma'am," he began, "we got a call about a disturbance. Mind telling me what's going on?" Olivia tilted her head, her eyes flicking to Nathan, who stood nearby, arms crossed, his expression smug. "Yes, Nathan," she said, her voice calm. "Why don't you explain why you felt the need to involve the police?" Nathan didn't flinch. "This woman was making inquiries about financing," he said smoothly. "She didn't seem like a serious buyer. Given the fraud we deal with, I made a judgment call." Daniels narrowed his eyes. "So you called us because someone asked about financing?" Nathan shifted, his confidence wavering. "I had reason to believe she wasn't here in good faith." Daniels turned to Olivia. "Ma'am, do you have ID?" She handed over her driver's license, her name Olivia Harper clearly printed. Daniels glanced at it, his expression unreadable, then handed it back. "Ms. Harper, any reason you're here other than inquiring about a vehicle?" "Just looking for information on financing," she said plainly. Seems that's a problem here. Daniels exhaled. Unless she's trespassing or causing a disruption, I'm not sure why we're here. He turned to Nathan. Next time, think twice before wasting our time. As the officers drove off, leaving an awkward silence, Olivia's gaze swept the showroom one last time. This wasn't just about Nathan. It was about a system that rewarded wealth and punished everyone else. She thought of her aunt, years ago, turned away from a high-end store because she didn't look the part. That memory had fueled Olivia's rise, her determination to build a business that valued people over appearances. Now, standing outside her own showroom, she knew this was bigger than one bad manager. She was about to tear down an empire built on greed, and she was just getting started. The Los Angeles skyline glittered beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows of Olivia Harper's office, but her eyes were fixed on the stack of customer complaints on her desk. The Beverly Hills showroom incident still burned in her mind. The dismissive sneer of Nathan Hayes, the cold indifference of the staff, the smug confidence of a system designed to exclude. It wasn't just personal now. It was a mission. Olivia had built Harper Automotive Group on the belief that luxury didn't have to mean elitism. But what she'd witnessed in her own showroom told a different story. Someone was rigging the game, and she was determined to find out who and how deep it went. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been judged unfairly based on appearances? Let us know your story as we dive deeper into this battle for justice. Olivia leaned back in her leather chair, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the polished wood of her desk. Across from her sat Liam Carter, her assistant of 5 years, his laptop open and his brow furrowed as he scrolled through customer data. At 30, Liam was a data savant, his quiet intensity a perfect complement to Olivia's bold vision. He'd been the one to flag the initial complaint that had sparked her undercover visit, and now he was her eyes and ears in the digital trenches. "It's worse than we thought," Liam said, his voice low. He turned his laptop toward her, revealing a spreadsheet of financing applications from the Beverly Hills showroom. 80% of rejected applications come from middle income. Buyers people with solid credit, stable jobs, but no flashy appearances. Meanwhile, VIPs, like James Caldwell, get priority processing. No questions asked. Olivia's jaw tightened. "Define priority processing," she said, her tone sharp but controlled. Liam tapped the screen. "Their applications are fast-tracked, often bypassing standard checks. Some even get discounts, big ones, off the books." Olivia leaned forward, scanning the numbers. One name caught her eye, a VIP client who'd purchased 3 cars in the past year, each at a 25% discount not listed in the showroom's public pricing. "This isn't just bad service," she murmured. "This is deliberate," Liam nodded. "And it's not just Nathan. The patterns go back years, before he even took over. Someone higher up set this up." The weight of his words settled over the room. Olivia stood, pacing to the window. The city lights blurred as her mind raced. She thought of her aunt, dismissed from a high-end boutique decades ago because she didn't look wealthy, a memory that had driven Olivia to demand fairness in her own company. But this was a machine, a system built to favor the elite and shut out everyone else. "We need more than numbers," she said, turning back to Liam. "We need proof, something that shows who's benefiting and how." Liam's fingers hovered over his keyboard. "I've already started pulling employee records and financial reports. But we need someone on the inside. Someone who sees what's happening on the floor." That someone was Mia Alvarez. At 27, Mia was a rising star in the showroom's sales team, her warm smile and quick wit masking a quiet frustration. She joined Harper Automotive Group hoping to climb the ranks, but she quickly learned the rules: play along with Nathan's system or risk being sidelined. Mia had overheard things late-night meetings in Nathan's office, hushed conversations with men in expensive suits, names she didn't fully know but recognized as tied to the showroom's previous owners. She'd kept her head down, but the incident with Olivia had shaken her. That evening, as the showroom closed, Mia lingered near the reception desk, her fingers fidgeting with a pen. She'd seen Olivia's face, the calm resolve in her eyes. And something had shifted. Mia couldn't stay silent anymore. She found Liam at a quiet cafe a few blocks from the showroom, the kind of place where the hum of conversation drowned out secrets. The dim lighting cast shadows across her face as she slid into the booth across from him. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, her voice low. "I don't have much time." Liam leaned forward, his expression open but cautious. "You said you had something to tell me about the showroom." Mia glanced around, then pulled out her phone. "I've overheard things," she said, her words careful. "Nathan meets with people after hours, investors, I think. They talk about curating the clientele, making sure only certain people get access to the cars." She hesitated, then tapped her screen, revealing a photo of a contract. "I found this in the system. It's an agreement with a VIP client, giving them first dibs on a limited edition model before it even hits the market." Liam's eyes narrowed as he scrolled through the document. The contract was signed by Nathan and a name he recognized: Thomas Bradley, a wealthy financier and one of Nathan's loyalists. The terms were clear. Bradley got the car at a steep discount, and the deal was marked confidential. "This is big," Liam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But why are you risking this?" Mia's jaw tightened. "Because I know what it's like to be dismissed," she said. "I'm Latina. When I started here, Nathan told me I was lucky to get the job because I didn't fit the image. I've seen customers like David Lynn walk in, ready to buy, and get ignored because they don't look like James Caldwell. I'm done staying quiet." Liam nodded, his respect for her growing. "We'll keep your name out of this," he promised. "But I need to get this to Olivia." Mia exhaled, her hands trembling slightly. "Just be careful. Nathan's not alone in this. Those investors? They're not just random players. They're tied to the old guard, the people who owned this place before Harper took over." Liam's expression hardened. This wasn't just a showroom problem. It was a legacy of corruption, entrenched and protected. Back in her office, Olivia sat across from Liam as he laid out the findings. The cafe's low hum still echoed in his ears as he handed her Mia's contract. "It's worse than we thought," he said. "Nathan's not just enforcing unfair policies. He's running a rigged system. These VIP deals are designed to lock out middle-class buyers, and the discounts, they're not even reported properly." Olivia flipped through the contract, her eyes scanning the fine print. "So they're inflating prices for regular buyers to cover the losses," she said, her voice steady but laced with anger. "And Nathan's pocketing the difference?" Liam tapped his laptop. "Not just Nathan. Look at this." He pulled up a financial report, highlighting a series of payments labeled consulting fees that didn't match any known vendors. The sums were staggering, hundreds of thousands funneled to an account tied to a shell company. "This goes beyond the showroom," Liam said. "Someone's been siphoning money, and I bet Nathan's not the mastermind. He's the enforcer." Olivia's mind flashed to Charles Thornton, the board member who'd always seemed too cozy with the showroom's old practices. Was he protecting Nathan or someone higher up? The investigation was gaining momentum, but so was the risk. That night, as Olivia reviewed the data alone in her office, her phone buzzed with a notification from X. A post with the hashtag fair auto sales was gaining traction, recounting a customer's story of being turned away from a luxury dealership for looking like they couldn't afford it. The comments were a firestorm, hundreds of users sharing similar experiences, some naming Harper Automotive Group directly. Olivia's stomach churned. The public was watching, and the pressure was mounting. In 2025, transparency was the currency of trust, and her company was bleeding it fast. Social media had turned customer service into a battlefield, and one wrong move could tank her reputation. She called Liam. "We need to move faster," she said. "The public's already talking, and if we don't get ahead of this, Nathan, we'll spin it against us." Liam hesitated. "There's one more thing. Mia says Nathan's been meeting with someone from the old ownership, a guy named Robert Pierce. He's got ties to a private equity firm that's been sniffing around the industry. If they're involved, this could go way beyond the showroom." Olivia's grip tightened on her phone. Pierce. She'd heard the name. Before, a shadowy figure who'd sold the showroom to her company, but never fully let go. This was bigger than she'd imagined. The next morning, Olivia summoned Nathan to her office. The air was thick with tension as he strolled in, his suit crisp, his smirk infuriatingly confident. "So, what's this about?" he asked, leaning back in his chair. "Need help understanding how a luxury showroom works." Olivia didn't rise to the bait. She slid a folder across the table. Customer complaints, financial discrepancies, Mia's contract. "Explain this," she said, her voice like steel. Nathan barely glanced at the documents. "You'll have to be more specific." Olivia leaned forward. 80% of rejected buyers are middle income. VIPs get discounts that don't show up in the books. And then there's this. She tapped the contract. "Why is Thomas Bradley getting a car for half the listed price?" Nathan's smirk didn't waver, but his eyes flickered. "This is a business, Olivia. We cater to high-value clients. They expect exclusivity. You start letting just anyone walk in, asking about financing like they're shopping for a Honda, and the brand loses its prestige." Olivia's jaw tightened. "And you decide who belongs?" Nathan shrugged. "I enforce what works. This place thrives because of how I run it." Olivia studied him, her mind racing. He wasn't just arrogant, he was untouchable, or so he thought. "We'll see about that," she said, standing. Nathan's smirk faltered for a fraction of a second as she walked out, leaving him alone with the folder. That evening, Olivia sat in her car outside the showroom, the city lights casting long shadows. She thought of her aunt's story, of David Lynn's ignored presence, of Mia's courage. This wasn't just about Nathan. It was about a system that had been rotting for years, protected by men like Charles Thornton and Robert Pierce. She pulled out her phone and typed a message to Liam. "Cross-check Nathan's payments with Pierce's. Firm. If there's a connection, we've got them." The battle lines were drawn, and Olivia knew one thing for certain. Exposing Nathan was only the beginning. The real fight was against the empire behind him. The Beverly Hills showroom was silent as Olivia Harper stood at her office window, the city's neon pulse reflecting in her eyes. The evidence she'd uncovered with Liam Carter and Mia Alvarez's shady VIP contracts, unreported discounts, and whispers of a deeper network tied to Nathan Hayes had lit a fire under her. But fire spread, and Nathan wasn't the kind of man to sit idly by while his empire was threatened. Outside, the world was watching. On X, the hashtag fair auto sales was exploding with thousands of users sharing stories of being dismissed by luxury dealerships. The public wanted transparency, and Olivia was determined to deliver it. But Nathan had other plans, and his next move would test her like never before. Drop a comment below. Have you ever faced a system stacked against you? Share your thoughts. As we dive into this escalating battle for control. It started with a notification. Olivia's phone buzzed as she reviewed Liam's latest report, a detailed breakdown of payments funneled to a shell company linked to Robert Pierce, a private equity titan with ties to the showroom's former owners. The notification was from X, flagged by an algorithm Liam had set up to monitor mentions of Harper Automotive Group. A post from an anonymous account read, "New policies at Harper's Beverly Hills showroom are tanking sales. Is CEO Olivia Harper out of her depth?" Attached was a leaked document of financial projection, claiming her reforms would cost the showroom millions by alienating VIP clients. The numbers were precise, professional, and utterly fabricated. Within hours, the post had thousands of reposts, with comments piling up. Another CEO playing woke games with a successful business. Harper's done if they keep this up. Olivia's stomach churned. The document bore the showroom's letterhead, but the projections didn't match Liam's data. "This is Nathan," she said, handing her phone to Liam, who just walked in with a coffee. His eyes narrowed as he scrolled. "He's good," Liam admitted. "This looks real enough to fool anyone who doesn't dig deeper." Olivia paced, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. "He's not just fooling the public, he's targeting the board." She thought of Charles Thornton, the board member who'd always backed Nathan, his skepticism a constant thorn in her side. A leak like this could sway the fence-sitters, and she knew it. By noon, the media had pounced. Financial blogs ran headlines. Radical policies threaten Beverly Hills auto empire. Harper Automotive faces backlash over leadership shakeup. A national business network aired a segment speculating whether Olivia's push for fairness was a naive gamble in an industry built on exclusivity. The narrative was shifting, and Nathan was orchestrating it with surgical precision. That afternoon, Olivia received a call from Eleanor Bennett, a pragmatic board member who'd been cautiously supportive. "The board's getting nervous," Eleanor said, her voice tight. "These leaks are causing a stir, and we've had 3 VIP clients, James Caldwell include, cancel orders this morning." Olivia's grip tightened on her phone. "The leaks are fake, Eleanor. We're running a forensic audit to prove it." Eleanor sighed. "I believe you, but perception is everything. You need to get ahead of this fast." Olivia hung up, her mind racing. She thought of her aunt, turned away from that boutique years ago, a sting of dismissal fueling her rise to CEO. Now, she was being painted as the villain in her own company, and the public was buying it. X was a double-edged sword in 2025, a platform where truth and lies spread at equal speed. The hashtag, #AutoScandal hashtag, was trending, with users debating whether Olivia was a reformer or a wrecking ball. One post, from a user claiming to be a showroom employee, read, "New management is killing our business. VIPs are walking, and we're stuck serving people who can't afford the cars." Olivia's jaw clenched. Nathan was playing dirty, and he was winning. That evening, Nathan made his boldest move. A press conference aired live on X and major news outlets, his polished suit and confident smile filling the screen. "I've dedicated years to making the Beverly Hills showroom a leader in luxury," he said, his voice smooth as glass. "But under new leadership, we're seeing reckless decisions that threaten our success. Revenue is dipping, customers are uncertain, and employees are frustrated. I stepped aside for the good of the company, but I have to ask, is it in the right hands?" The cameras flashed, and the headlines followed. Former manager calls out Harper's disastrous policies. Is this the end of an iconic brand? Olivia watched the broadcast from her office, her hands curled into fists. Liam stood beside her, his face pale. "He's setting you up," he said. "He's framing this as your failure before you even get a chance to prove yourself." Mia burst in, her phone in hand. "Customers are calling, asking if we're going under," she said, her voice trembling with frustration. "One of my clients, a middle-class guy who finally felt welcome here, just canceled his appointment because he saw Nathan's speech." Olivia exhaled sharply. "That's exactly what he wants: panic, doubt, chaos." But the worst was yet to come. At 10 p.m., Olivia's phone buzzed with an email from an unknown sender. The subject line sent a chill down her spine. Walk away while you still can. She opened it, her heart pounding. The message was brief. If you keep pushing, you'll regret it. Resign, or as this gets personal. No signature, no trace. Just a cold threat that lingered like smoke. Olivia sat back, her mind flashing to her family, her teenage niece, who idolized her. Her brother, who'd warned her about taking on old money in the industry. Was Nathan behind this, or was it someone bigger? Robert Pierce's name loomed in her thoughts. The private equity mogul who'd never fully let go of the showroom strings. She called Liam and Mia to her office, the city's glow casting long shadows across the room. We're not just fighting Nathan anymore, she said, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. This is a network, Pierce. Maybe others. They're scared because we're getting close. Liam frowned, his fingers tapping his laptop. I found something else. Those consulting fees we flagged? They're tied to a firm Pierce owns, but the money's being funneled through multiple accounts. It's like they're covering their tracks. Mia's eyes widened. I overheard Nathan mention Pierce once, late at night. He said something about keeping the system intact. I didn't think much of it then, but Olivia nodded, her resolve hardening. We need hard evidence, something that ties Nathan to Pierce directly. Emails, recordings, anything. Liam hesitated. If we go after Pierce, we're poking a bear. He's got connections, politicians, investors, even regulators. Olivia met his gaze. Then we'd better be ready for it to roar. She turned to Mia. You're risking a lot by helping us. Why? Mia's jaw tightened. Because I'm tired of seeing people like me, people like David Lynn, treated like they don't belong. I want this place to be different. Olivia nodded, a flicker of pride cutting through her tension. Then let's make it different. The next morning, the boardroom was a pressure cooker. Charles Thornton, his gray hair slicked back, leaned forward, his fingers steepled. Olivia, these leaks are a problem, he said, his tone clipped. Revenue's down, clients are pulling out, and now we've got this. He slid a printout of the fabricated financial projection across the table. Care to explain? Olivia didn't flinch. It's a lie, Charles. Those numbers are fabricated, and we're proving it. Thornton raised an eyebrow. Prove it fast, because the board's patience is wearing thin. Eleanor Bennett, her expression unreadable, added, We've lost 5 more VIP clients this week. If this continues, we'll have to reconsider leadership. Olivia's heart sank, but she kept her face neutral. Give me time, she said. We're auditing every transaction. You'll see the truth soon enough. Thornton leaned back, unconvinced. You have 1 week. As the meeting ended, Olivia caught Thornton's glance toward his phone, a message, quickly hidden. Was he in Nathan's pocket or Pierce's? The lines were blurring, and the stakes were climbing. That night, Olivia sat alone in her office, the city's hum a distant backdrop. X was ablaze with hashtag auto-scandal posts, some praising her reforms, others calling her a reckless idealist. The SEC had announced investigations into several luxury dealerships for unfair financing practices, a headline that both bolstered her case and added pressure. She thought of the email thread, the weight of her family's expectations, the customers. Like David Lynn, who deserved better. Nathan had drawn blood, but Olivia wasn't out of the fight. She opened her laptop and typed a message to Liam. Set up a press conference. If Nathan wants to play in public, we'll meet him there. The war was far from over, and Olivia Harper was ready to strike back. The Beverly Hills showroom gleamed under the evening lights, its glass facade reflecting a city that never slept. Inside, the air was charged, not with the usual hum of sales pitches, but with the weight of an impending reckoning. Olivia Harper stood at the edge of her office, her reflection sharp in the window. Nathan Hayes' press conference had painted her as a reckless idealist, and the X platform was ablaze with hashtag #AutoScandal, splitting public opinion between those who saw her as a reformer and those who believed she was dismantling a legacy. The anonymous email threat, "Resign, or this gets personal," still lingered in her mind, a cold reminder that Nathan wasn't fighting alone. But tonight, Olivia was done playing defense. She was ready to strike back, and the truth was her weapon. Drop a comment below. Have you ever stood up to a corrupt system? Tell us your story as we dive into this pivotal moment of justice. Olivia adjusted her blazer, her movements deliberate. The press conference was set for 7 p.m., and the showroom's main floor was already buzzing with reporters, analysts, and camera crews. The event was being live-streamed on X, a platform that had become the pulse of public opinion in 2025, amplifying voices and scandals with equal ferocity. Liam Carter stood by her side, his laptop open to a dossier of evidence, leaked contracts, financial discrepancies, and a grainy video of Nathan plotting with a VIP client. "This is it," Liam said, his voice steady but urgent. "Once this goes public, there's no turning back." Olivia nodded, her eyes scanning the room. "Good. Let's burn their house down." Across town, Nathan Hayes watched the live stream from a sleek penthouse, a glass of whiskey in his hand. His press conference had done its damage, sowing doubt about Olivia's leadership, but he knew she'd fight back. His phone buzzed with a message from Robert Pierce, the private equity mogul tied to the showroom's old guard. "Handle this, or we all go down." Nathan's jaw tightened. He'd orchestrated the leaked documents, fueled the X firestorm, and even sent that anonymous email through a burner account. But Olivia was proving harder to break than he'd expected. Back at the showroom, the lights dimmed as Olivia stepped to the podium, her presence commanding. Cameras flashed, and the X livestream ticker surged with thousands of viewers. She took a deep breath, her voice clear and unwavering. "Over the past week, there's been speculation about the changes at Harper Automotive Group's Beverly Hills showroom," she began. "Some say our new policies will ruin us, that we're abandoning the principles that made us successful. Let me be clear, those claims are built on lies." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Olivia gestured to the screen behind her, where Liam projected a financial chart. Under the previous leadership, this showroom wasn't just exclusive, it was corrupt. The screen shifted to a scanned contract, the same one Mia Alvarez had uncovered, showing Thomas Bradley receiving a 25% discount on a limited edition car, marked confidential. "This is just one example," Olivia said, her tone cutting. "Select VIP clients, many with personal ties to the showroom's manager, Nathan Hayes, were granted undisclosed discounts and priority access to vehicles before they hit the market. This artificially inflated demand, shutting out qualified buyers who didn't fit the image." Gasps echoed through the room. Reporters scribbled furiously, and the X ticker exploded with comments. "This is huge." Finally, someone's calling out the elites. Olivia pressed forward, her voice rising. This wasn't about preserving luxury, it was about lining pockets. Financial records show millions funneled to shell companies, with payments mislabeled as consulting fees, and we have proof. Liam clicked, and the screen played the grainy video of Nathan in a private lounge, his voice unmistakable. "If you and the others pull out, cancel deals, delay purchases, the board will panic. They'll push her out, and we'll reinstate the VIP model. You scratch my back, I scratch yours." The room fell silent, the weight of Nathan's words sinking in. Olivia let it linger before continuing. "I promise to run this company with integrity. That means every client, whether they're a first-time buyer or a repeat customer, gets a fair chance. That's not just ethical, it's smart business." A reporter raised his hand. "Ms. Harper, Nathan Hayes claims your policies are risky and will tank revenue. How do you respond? Before Olivia could answer, a voice cut through the room. I'll tell you what Nathan Hayes did behind closed doors. Heads turned as Mia Alvarez stepped forward from the back, her hands trembling but her eyes fierce. The cameras swiveled to her, the X live stream zooming in. I'm a sales associate here, Mia said, her voice steadying. For years, I watched Nathan and his team dismiss customers who didn't look wealthy enough. I saw people with the money to buy a car turned away while Nathan's connections, like Thomas Bradley, got deals that cost this company thousands. The room was electric. Mia took a breath, her voice growing stronger. I'm Latina. When I started here, Nathan told me I was lucky to get the job because I didn't fit the image. I was told to play along or lose my place. I stayed. Quiet until now. She faced the cameras directly. Nathan's lying to you. He's not fighting for this business. He's fighting to cover his tracks. I have emails, internal memos, proof of the pressure he put on us to enforce his system. The flash of cameras intensified, and the X ticker went wild. She's spilling everything. Hashtag auto scandal just got real. Olivia glanced at Mia, a flicker of gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, Mia, she said softly, then turned back. To the crowd. Our new model projects a 12% revenue increase over 2 years, not by catering to a select few, but by building loyalty with a broader base. We're investing in fair financing, transparent pricing, and a service experience that respects every customer. Another reporter spoke up. What about Nathan Hayes' supporters on the board? Olivia smiled, her voice firm. They'll see the truth soon enough. The press conference ended with a roar of questions, but Olivia had done what she came to do. The truth was out, and the tide was turning. By morning, the headlines had shifted. Shocking testimony blows hole in former manager's defense. Leaked documents reveal corruption at luxury showroom. X was flooded with support for Olivia and Mia, with hashtag fair auto sales trending, alongside calls for broader industry reform. The SEC's ongoing investigations into unfair financing practices added fuel, with analysts speculating that Harper Automotive could set a precedent for change. But the battle wasn't over. That afternoon, Olivia faced the boardroom, a mahogany table separating her from a room of skeptical faces. Charles Thornton, Nathan's longtime ally, folded his hands, his expression cold. You've made quite a spectacle, Olivia, he said. But spectacles don't fix revenue losses. Eleanor Bennett, flipping through a dossier of evidence, spoke up. I'm more concerned about these unauthorized transactions tied to Nathan's VIP program. Some discounts were entirely off the books. Care to explain that, Charles? Thornton's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. Olivia seized the moment. Those transactions weren't just unethical. They were illegal. We're talking market manipulation, unreported payments, and a system designed to benefit a few at the expense of everyone else. She slid a folder across the table, containing Mia's emails and Liam's financial audit. Nathan wasn't acting alone. He was enabled by a network, including ties to Robert Pierce's firm. The room tensed. A younger board member, visibly shaken, spoke up. If this is true, we're looking at serious legal liability, Thornton scoffed. This is a gross overreaction. But his voice lacked conviction. Eleanor leaned forward. I move that Nathan Hayes be suspended pending a full investigation. Another member, a lawyer named Daniel Weiss, nodded. I second the motion. Olivia watched as hands went up, one by one. Thornton hesitated, his eyes darting to his phone, but even he raised his hand. The vote was unanimous. Nathan was out for now. As security escorted him from the building, his face burned with fury. He turned to Olivia, his voice low. You think this is over? You're digging your own grave. Olivia didn't flinch. No, Nathan, you dug yours. Later that night, Olivia sat with Liam and Mia in a quiet corner of the showroom. The press conference had been a victory, but the threat still loomed. "Pierce is the real power here," Liam said, scrolling through new data. "He's got friends in high places, regulators, investors. If he's backing Nathan, this isn't the end." Mia nodded. "I heard Nathan mention Pierce's name again last week. He said something about protecting the system at all costs." Olivia's eyes narrowed. "Then we keep digging. This isn't just about the showroom anymore. It's about the industry." As she looked out at the city, Olivia felt the weight of what lay ahead. The X-Firestorm had given her a platform, but it had also made her a target. The sex scrutiny was closing in, and Pierce's shadow loomed large. But for the first time, she wasn't alone. Mia's courage, Liam's loyalty, and the growing support on X were her armor. Nathan had underestimated her, but she wouldn't make the same mistake with him or whoever was pulling his strings. The Beverly Hills showroom hummed with a different kind of energy, one that felt both fragile and alive. Gone were the days of hushed exclusivity, where only the wealthiest were courted with espressos and closed-door deals. Olivia Harper stood at the center of the sales floor, her eyes scanning the polished cars now displayed not as trophies for the elite, but as possibilities for a broader clientele. Nathan Hayes was gone, his suspension a public victory after Olivia's explosive press conference. The X platform was still buzzing with #fair auto sales, with thousands praising her for exposing corruption. But victory was fleeting. The showroom faced new hurdles: employee defections, skeptical board members, and a financial dip that threatened to unravel everything. Olivia knew the real test was just beginning. Drop a comment below. What changes would you make to a broken system? Share your thoughts as we dive into this chapter of transformation and trial. The morning after Nathan's suspension, Olivia gathered the showroom staff in the main hall. The air was thick with uncertainty. Some employees stood with arms crossed. Others whispered nervously. She held up a printed policy document, her voice clear and resolute. "As of today, the VIP exclusivity program is gone," she announced. "No client will get preferential pricing or early access based on who they know. We're restructuring financing to make luxury vehicles accessible to all qualified buyers, not just a select few." A murmur spread through the room. Jake Torres, a young salesman with a knack for connecting with customers, nodded in approval. But Paul Mitchell, a veteran who thrived under Nathan's system, crossed his arms tighter. "And what happens when the big spenders walk out?" he asked, his tone sharp. "Like it or not, they've carried this place for years." Olivia met his gaze. "They're not the only ones with money, Paul. We've been shutting out loyal customers just because they don't flash wealth. That stops now." She turned to a screen where Liam Carter projected a new plan, a loyalty-based program rewarding repeat business, transparent pricing, and fair financing options. "This isn't about discounting luxury," Olivia continued. "It's about building trust. Our competitors are adapting, and we've been standing still. Not anymore." Jake raised his hand. "So we're retraining everyone?" Olivia nodded. "Every client gets the same service, no exceptions. We're holding an open forum this weekend for customers to share their experiences past and present." Paul exhaled, rubbing his chin. "This is going to be a mess." Olivia smiled faintly. "Maybe, but it's a necessary one." The room wasn't unanimous. Some employees, loyal to Nathan's old ways, exchanged skeptical glances. But others, like Mia Alvarez, sat forward, her eyes bright with hope. Mia's public testimony at the press conference had made her a hero on X, where users hailed her as a whistleblower for justice. Yet Olivia knew the reforms were only as strong as the team behind them, and cracks were already forming. By midweek, the fallout began. Several employees, those who'd benefited from Nathan's backroom deals, handed in their resignations. One, a senior salesman, sent a pointed email. "Your fairness is killing the brand. Good luck without us." The showroom's sales floor felt thinner, with fewer staff to handle walk-ins. Customer complaints about slower service flooded the inbox, amplified by X posts with hashtags like #HarperDecline. "They're saying we're collapsing," Mia said, scrolling through her phone during a late-night meeting in Olivia's office. Liam, his laptop open, added, "Revenue's down 8% this week. Some VIPs are delaying payments, trying to pressure us." Olivia's jaw tightened. She'd expected resistance, but the speed and coordination suggested Nathan's influence lingered. Pressure wasn't just professional. At home, Olivia faced her brother, Michael, over dinner. "You're risking everything," he said, his voice heavy with concern. "I know you want to do right, Liv, but what about your niece? If this fails, it's not just your job, it's our family's stability." Olivia stared at her plate, the weight of his words sinking in. Her niece, Emma, saw her as a role model, a woman who'd shattered glass ceilings. Failure wasn't just a business risk. It was personal. "I can't back down," she said quietly. "Not when I know what's right," Michael sighed. "I hope you're ready for what's coming." To counter the chaos, Olivia doubled down. She partnered with a Silicon Valley startup to launch a mobile app that let customers explore financing options transparently, a move that aligned with 2025's trend toward tech-driven consumer empowerment. The app, dubbed Harper Access, gained traction on X, with influencers praising its user-friendly design. Olivia also announced a high-profile relaunch event for the weekend, inviting customers of all backgrounds to experience the new showroom. "We're not just selling cars," she told Liam and Mia. "We're selling trust." Liam nodded, but his brow furrowed. "We need more staff, fast, and the board's watching every move." The relaunch event was a gamble. The showroom buzzed with energy as journalists, potential buyers, and curious locals filled the space. Sleek vehicles gleamed under LED lights, but the real draw was the promise of fairness. Middle-class customers, like David Lynn, who'd been ignored under Nathan's reign, mingled with reporters. Olivia stood near the entrance, her heart pounding. Then she saw him, Thomas Bradley, a former VIP client who'd once been Nathan's loyalist. His presence was a shock. Bradley, a financier known for his extravagant purchases, approached her, his expression unreadable. "Miss Harper," he sighed, his voice measured. "I didn't expect to see you here tonight." Olivia straightened, bracing herself. "Mr. Bradley, I didn't expect you either." He glanced around, taking in the diverse crowd, families, young professionals, people Nathan would have dismissed. "I wasn't sure I'd come," Bradley admitted. "At first, I thought your changes were naive. Exclusivity is what I paid for." Olivia held his gaze, silent, letting him continue. "But then I realized something," he said, exhaling. "I don't care about VIP treatment. I care about a good deal and not being lied to. What you're doing here, it takes guts." He paused, then extended a hand. "Let's talk numbers. I might have an order to place." Olivia shook his hand, a cautious smile breaking through. "Let's do that." Bradley's return was a turning point, a signal that even the wealthy could buy into her vision. The event was a success. Sales inquiries spiked, and X lit up with posts praising the inclusive atmosphere. #FairAutoSales trended again, with users sharing photos of the event and stories of being welcomed where they'd once been ignored. But the numbers told a mixed story. By the end of the week, revenue was still shaky, with some VIPs continuing to delay payments, a lingering echo of Nathan's sabotage. At the next board meeting, Olivia faced a wall of scrutiny. Charles Thornton adjusted his glasses, his tone icy. "You're holding your ground, I'll give you that. But we're still bleeding revenue. Eleanor Bennett, skimming a report, nodded. Customer retention is up projected to hit 40% in 6 months compared to 20% before. But we can't keep losing money. Olivia placed a new proposal on the table, detailing a partnership with Summit Automotive, a rising luxury retailer known for inclusive sales models. This isn't just about recovery, she said. It's about redefining what luxury means. Summit wants to collaborate to showcase a new era of fair sales. We'll lead the industry, not follow it. Thornton frowned. Risky. Eleanor, however, leaned forward. It's bold. After a tense debate, the board agreed to give her 30 days to show results. As Olivia left the room, Liam caught up with her, his face pale. You need to see this. He handed her a folder with financial records from Nathan's final months. One number stood out, a $2 million discrepancy, funneled to an offshore account. Mia, joining them, frowned. What are we looking at? Liam exhaled. Nathan wasn't just rigging the system, he was stealing. I think he's using the money to start something new. Olivia's hands curled into fists. The fight wasn't over. Nathan's shadow loomed, and the showroom's future hung in the balance. She looked at Liam and Mia, her resolve unshaken. Then we stop him before he builds another empire on lies. The Beverly Hills showroom stood transformed, its glass walls no longer a barrier to the elite, but a window to a new era. Olivia Harper gazed out from her office, the Los Angeles skyline a glittering testament to her hard-fought victory. Nathan. Hayes was gone, his empire of deceit crumbling under the weight of undeniable evidence. The X platform, once a battleground of doubt and division, now buzzed with praise for Olivia's reforms, with hashtag fair auto sales trending as a rallying cry for change. But even as sales climbed and the showroom hummed with new life, Olivia knew the war wasn't over. The $2 million Nathan had siphoned off was a ticking bomb, and its detonation would test everything she'd built. Drop a comment below. What does fairness mean to you in business? Share your thoughts as we close this saga of courage and transformation. The news broke at dawn. Headlines flooded every major outlet. Ex-luxury auto executive indicted for embezzlement. Millions in stolen funds linked to new showroom project. Nathan Hayes' Newport Beach venture, a sleek skeleton of steel and glass, was dead before it could open. Investors pulled out, their confidence shattered by evidence that Nathan had funneled $2 million from Harper Automotive to bankroll his new empire. The Zec, already probing the industry for unfair practices, issued a formal warrant for his arrest. Olivia watched the morning news from her office, the screen showing Nathan being escorted into a courthouse, his face a mask of rage and humiliation. He's done, Liam Carter said, setting a newspaper on her desk. But the damage he left behind isn't. The showroom was still fragile. Revenue had begun to recover, driven by a surge of middle-class buyers who felt welcomed for the first time. David Lynn, the customer once ignored, returned to sign a financing deal, his smile a quiet victory. But the loss of VIP clients like James Caldwell, who'd initially balked at the loss of exclusivity, had left a financial gap. At the boardroom table, Charles Thornton, once Nathan's staunch ally, cleared his throat. You proved us wrong, Olivia, he admitted, his voice gruff. I was skeptical, but you saved this company from a scandal that could have buried us. Eleanor Bennett nodded, skimming a report. Customer retention is climbing, projected at 40% in 6 months. But we're not out of the woods yet. Olivia placed a rebranding proposal on the table. We're not just recovering, she said. We're redefining luxury. The plan outlined a nationwide initiative, partnering with Summit Automotive to promote transparent sales models across the industry. This isn't about chasing the ultra-wealthy, she continued. It's about building a brand that thrives on trust. Thornton raised an eyebrow. And the financial gap? Olivia smiled. We're closing it. Our open showroom event last week brought in 200 new inquiries, half from middle-income buyers. We're not just surviving, we're growing. The board voted to approve. Their trust in Olivia cemented beyond the showroom. The impact rippled. Mia Alvarez, whose courage had blown open Nathan's schemes, was promoted to head of customer experience, ensuring the new policies were upheld with integrity. Liam, ever the strategist, took on a role expanding the reforms to other Harper Automotive branches. On X, the hashtag Fair Auto Sales movement sparked broader calls for change, with customers demanding transparency from dealerships nationwide. This X, investigations intensified, targeting other luxury retailers suspected of similar practices. Olivia received an email from a nonprofit, the Fair Commerce Alliance, inviting her to speak at a national conference on ethical business. She accepted, knowing her fight was no longer just about one showroom. It was about the future of an industry. That evening, Olivia stood alone in the showroom, the cars gleaming under soft lights. She thought of her aunt, dismissed all those years ago, and of Emma, her niece, who texted her that morning, "You're my hero, Aunt Liv." The weight of her journey settled over her, not just the battles with Nathan and Robert Pierce, but the quiet moments of doubt, the threats, the fear of failing those who believed in her. She'd won, but the cost had been high. The showroom was thriving, not because it catered to the elite, but because it valued every customer as more than a transaction. This story is more than a corporate showdown. It's a testament to the power of integrity and courage. Olivia Harper's fight shows us that fairness isn't just a principle, it's a strategy for lasting success. Her journey reminds us that systems built on exclusion and greed are fragile, crumbling under the weight of truth. Mia's bravery teaches us that one voice, however small, can spark change, while Liam's loyalty underscores the strength of collaboration. In 2025, as consumers demand transparency and equity, Olivia's story is a blueprint for reimagining industries trapped in outdated hierarchies. The lesson? Power doesn't come from privilege. It comes from trust, respect, and the audacity to challenge what's wrong. But the question remains, how many other industries still favor the few over the many? What systems need dismantling next? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Love this tale of justice and transformation? There's more where that came from. Subscribe to Legacy Stories on YouTube for gripping narratives that inspire, challenge, and spark change. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to never miss a story that redefines what's possible. Together, let's uncover the legacies that shape our world.